For the next 4 weeks, we're going to be talking about the season of Advent. It starts on November 29th and will end on December 20th. Now, through these 4 weeks, we're going to discuss these candles, and each candle stands for a different part of the Christmas story leading up to Jesus' birth. In your family Advent bags, you also have a mini set of these candles. So as I light each of these candles for each week, you can participate with your parents and safely light the candle as I do to celebrate Advent. You also have a mini Advent calendar. You can use this calendar every day. Every day you poke out the days of Advent leading up to Christmas. There's also a daily devotion that you can do with your family to help remind you of what the Christmas season is truly about. Welcome to week 3 of Advent. Now, here's a quick activity I want you to do, and you're going to have to move really quickly. This jar of candy, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to tell me exactly how many pieces are in it. Ready, go. Was it easy to count all of the candies in this jar? It probably wasn't. It was probably pretty tricky. It might help if you could take them out and spread them out on the table and take your time to count them. Then you could get an accurate number. That's exactly what we're going to find in our story today. Mary and Joseph had to make a long journey back to their hometown because a census was being taken. A census is where the government counts every single person in the town. Today's memory verse is kind of a long one, but we're going to learn some motions to go along with it. It's from Luke 2, 6-7. Listen as I read. While Joseph and Mary were there, the time came for the child to be born. She gave birth to her first baby. It was a boy. She wrapped him in large strips of cloth, then she placed him in a manger. There was no room for them in the inn. Now, each of these lines is going to have a special motion to go along with it. When you hear, while Joseph and Mary were there, you're going to put a hand up for Joseph and a hand up for Mary. When the line, the time came for the child to be born, you're going to point to your watch for time. Then the line, she gave birth to her first baby, you're going to hold like you're holding a little baby doll. For the line, it was a boy, you're going to bow. So put one hand in front of your stomach, one hand behind your back, and bow. For the next line, she wrapped him in large strips of cloth. We're going to roll our arms like we're wrapping the cloth. For our next line, then she placed him in a manger. We're going to hold the baby and act like we're placing him in a manger so you can lower down. And the last line, there was no room for them in the inn. You're going to shake your head and point your finger like you're saying no. So the goal is that you'll be able to recite this verse not using your words, but using all of these motions to tell the story. So let's try it just using the motions, and you can follow along on the screen. Could you do it? If not, you can work your way until you know all of the symbols. In our Bible story, we learned that the first place Joseph and Mary went to wouldn't let them in. There was no room. The only option they had was to spend the night in a barn. Do you think this was a very appropriate place for a king to be born? I don't either. Did you know that we do the very same thing at Christmas? We don't allow room in our hearts for Jesus on his birthday. The Christmas season is fun and full of things to do. Christmas parties, making gingerbread houses, driving around, looking at Christmas lights, watching Christmas movies on TV, and so much more. The Christmas season is full of fun things to do, like going to Christmas parties, watching Christmas movies, my favorite, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, driving around, looking at Christmas lights, making gingerbread houses, and so many other things to do at Christmas. Is Christmas really just about those things, though? Of course not. Christmas is about celebrating the birth of Jesus. What are some of the things we can do to make Christmas about Jesus? Some things we can do are read the Christmas story. We can donate food to a food pantry. We can volunteer at a local shelter. We can give money to our church. We can make cookies to give away. We can use our own money to buy a gift for someone who might not receive anything for Christmas. And of course, we can pray. However, if we don't make time for those things, it's kind of hard to fit them in. Let's see. Praying, donating, volunteering, reading the Christmas story. Now, I can only fit 3 of those in. Does this mean we can't do any fun things at Christmas? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. We just have to make room. This time, we're going to put the things in that honor Jesus first, like praying, sharing the gospel, donating to people who might need it, maybe helping your neighbor out during Christmas, or writing a Christmas card, sharing the good news of Jesus' birth. Now, we could fit a lot more than we could last time. And let's see if we can also fit all the fun activities, like watching Christmas movies, driving around, eating hot chocolate, looking at Christmas lights, snuggling around the fire, listening to Christmas music, going shopping for gifts, writing your Christmas list, making cookies for Santa, and opening presents on Christmas Day. Now, when we put the things for Jesus first, we were able to fit in everything. So yes, it is possible to do all the fun things at Christmas, but just remember to put Jesus first. Welcome to the 3rd Sunday in Advent. This is when we get to shout for joy. Jesus is coming. Joy, it's a word we hear and we see everywhere at Christmas. Joy to the world is a message of the season. Joy is the theme of this day. The 3rd candle on this Advent wreath is the shepherd's candle. It remembers the first in a long line of people who joyfully shared the good news of the Savior's birth. The candle is a different color, reminding us that our period of waiting is halfway over. Three candles burning bright, chasing away the darkness from light. 3 candles glowing bright, the blessing of God giving new sight.